Mannion Show. I'm your host, Cynthia Mannion, and I'm thrilled to welcome back a very special guest tonight. Paula Schroeder has joined us before, and the response, it was so incredible we just had to bring her back for round two. Paula is a gifted healer who has been practicing spiritual response therapy since 2003. Over the past 2 decades, she's helped thousands of people release subconscious blocks, transform negative patterns, and find what she calls freedom within the soul. Paula's mission is simple but profound, assisting others in gaining freedom within their soul. She's a certified Oneness Trainer with over 18 years of experience guiding people on their path to spiritual awakening. Her clients, they come from all walks of life: executives, educators, business owners, physicians, artists, and even other healing practitioners. She's also helped animals and beloved pets. She's even supported couples in overcoming blocks to pregnancy. Tonight, we're going deeper. We're exploring advanced SRT, spiritual response therapy. These techniques and her stress detox course and the connection between spiritual growth and professional success, and one of my favorite messages from our last conversation, treating yourself like you would treat your best friend. Shouldn't you be your own best friend? Paula holds a degree from Purdue University and spent 12 years in sales before transitioning to healing work. So those skills in deep listening and collaboration probably helped her keep that good heart and realize what everyone else is thinking at the heart of everything she does today. So please join me in welcoming back the wonderful Paula Schroeder to the Cynthia Mannion Show. Woohoo!
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. Welcome back, Paula. It's so wonderful to have you here again.
Thank you. Thank
you. You're a very popular guest and people want to know more. But first of all, since our last conversation, what's happening in your world? New insights that you want to share?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I've had a recently big insight into something in my own life, and it goes right along with how the subconscious can cause obstacles that we're not even aware of. I recently read an article that talked about how epigenetics, which are, we think about the genetics, so our parents, our grandparents handed down certain traits and characteristics that we've inherited. And we understand that, but now science has been able to determine that for 3 generations, we also have similar thoughts, emotions, and reactions similar to our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents.
It could be good or bad. Or both.
Right. It could be both, obviously.
Yeah, tell us more.
But yeah, so I recently had some feelings of anger would come up easily. So, of course, the first thing I start to do is detox my liver by drinking lemon in my water in the morning. Are you doing that right now?
Sure, I start in the morning. It takes me a while to get all of it. Cheers, everyone. Get your water and your lemon so you can really immerse yourself in Paula's talk today.
So anyway.
Immerse yourself, yes.
So obviously that's one way to help your liver let go. It's an organ that in Chinese medicine is associated with holding on to anger and resentment. And so anyway, I was, with spiritual response therapy, you're looking at how you feel internally about something. And so I had a circumstance in my external world that brought up anger, but when I went internal, it didn't feel like it was mine. So I had this realization that it may have come down through the generations, and I'm the living generation, so I'm left to process that. So, science has gotten to, as I mentioned, they accept that that can happen for 3 generations. And spirituality has relied upon like ancient sages and different yogis, and they say that it goes through 7 generations. So there you go, little food for thought.
Ooh. And how did you know? And how did you know it was not you in your heart?
Well, when I looked inside, and one thing that's useful to do is slow your breathing down and to take conscious breaths. And a conscious breath, like if your mind is going a million miles an hour, a conscious breath is one where you focus on the tip of your nose and you feel the cool air come in. And then you notice that it's warmer when you exhale.
True.
That's a way to do a conscious breath. And as we do more of those breaths, it quiets down the parietal lobes of our brain. So there's not so much internal chatter. And as I did that, I could see that I really truly was not feeling angry about that situation. It
Hmm.
just felt like a breeze that had blown through me. And so when I read this and learned about the epigenetics affecting the generations that are still living, I could feel internally that my soul agreed with that.
And then what did you do?
So basically, at that point, I used spiritual response therapy.
Oh,
Which,
yes.
yes, which this is my little traveling book that I have on my desk. And it just says spiritual response therapy and reaching your potential. And so this is a set of 32 charts, and they were designed by a Unity Church minister and 2 psychologists. And basically, I use a pendulum to go through whatever chart is indicated with what's called an idiometer response. So, like this pendulum will start swinging in a yes motion if it's something that needs to be cleared for either myself or a client. And I'm not moving my hand back and forth, it's just doing that. And then if it's something that doesn't need to be done, it stops and it's holds pretty stationary or, moves very slightly like this. And that's an indication from that person's subconscious mind that they don't need that to be cleared. It's all done. And this type of work works with the highest aspect of yourself. So a lot of people will call that your high self, your higher potential, the God within, those types of things.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you see that in the video when she did that? You actually went out of focus when you were talking negatively, and then you actually came back in focus when you and the pendulum were both still.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
You're going to have to watch the replay. That was
I will.
quite interesting. I wonder what that means. Oh,
Sounds pretty cool. So basically, to answer your question, I went through the steps to see if I had released that situation that caused anger to flow through me, if everything had been released and healed. And so when it was done, the pendulum will hold still. And I know I've completed the learning from that, or I've had the insight, and it's helping me to live in what some people would call mindfulness or awareness in life.
hmm. So last time you talked about the basics of SRT.
Mhm.
Can you, for people who are just joining or didn't watch the replay of the first one, can you give us a quick version of what spiritual response therapy is?
Yes. It's a healing method that will allow you to go into the subconscious part of your mind. So we all know our conscious thoughts most of the time. Yes, I want to go to the movies with my friends. No, I don't. So we usually know those types of things. But like, say if you have an emotion that's not typical for you, say jealousy, and all of a sudden it's like, well, and you cannot place, like, how does that apply to me? That is usually somewhere in your subconscious, which is the part of the mind where you don't know what's embedded or stuck there, or the unconscious, which means you've carried it for generations in your family. So it seems like the truth to you. Or for those that embrace reincarnation, it could be something that you've carried from one incarnation to another, to another, to another, and you hadn't mastered the learning from it yet.
Fascinating. Isn't that fascinating, ladies and gentlemen? Please share this out if you have anyone else you think should be listening. Tonight, we're going to go deeper. What are some advanced SRT techniques that you didn't get to share in our first conversation?
Well, usually and I am a teacher of this method as well. And so when I teach people, they learn how to clear themselves first because one, they know themselves the best, you know. And so when these surprising things come up from the subconscious, they then can see how that applies to their life. And sometimes it may take them 2 or 3 days before they realize, wow, I've had a change. One time when I taught a class, this gal told me she was in the midst of a separation from her husband. So she had some programs with men, and one of them was a block to the love of men. And um, so we cleared that. And in 2 days' time, she was out and about. And
Yeah.
everywhere she went that day, men opened the door for her. And she couldn't believe it. She said, "My whole life, I've been opening my own doors." And, someone helped her get out of the car. And then another gentleman, she lived in a big city. He opened the door for her because the revolving thing was too busy. So
I wonder what else she opened.
fun. So there's little clues like that help you realize that, yeah, something shifted.
You mentioned you might do a demonstration or a what would you call that?
Yeah, yeah, I can do a little bit of a healing that would be for anyone that's either listening now or listens to it later. Um,
What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. Yes, Paula, please.
okay, sounds good.
Woohoo!
Yay,
Okay.
jazz
Heal
hands.
me from anything I've got, past, present, or future. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's obviously a very expansive topic, the past, present, and the future. So
And that's why
we'll
I should
just
cover the whole thing because
okay. You're so funny. Okay, so basically one of the things I've noticed in working with clients is that there's a lot of overwhelm right now in the world.
yes.
And there's many categories underneath that where people feel overwhelmed. Some of that could be like, we've had an increase in cost of living. Like simple things like groceries are more than they used to be. So it brings up feelings of insecurity around finances and stability, things along those lines. Um, so there's the increase in the cost of living, the inflation, overall financial concerns. So I thought we could clear a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, the heating bill almost doubled. I'm like, what? And I have
Uh-huh.
it low all the time. I only heated up the house to make sure that it kept, just in case electricity went off, which it did, it would already
Mhm.
have a warm interior.
Yeah, which obviously is wise during these winter storms like that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So beautiful though. Ah,
yeah, that is true.
I had the best time watching the birds on the feeder. Like you thought they were having a party and they were all there. Even that little woodpecker, I have this little woodpecker who pecks on my house. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's nice. He's over there dancing with the other girl, along with the robin, which he doesn't usually do. And they're all playing together and they're all eating. And you should see all those little footprints in the sand. I was like, oh, I spent hours watching them.
Oh, nice. That's so nice. Awesome.
Anyway,
Yeah, okay.
what do we do? Open eyes,
So
close eyes,
we're
relax, sit. If
yeah,
you're at home, you can lay on the floor, hit a posture.
we're not gonna get that fancy tonight, but sometimes you can sit however you like. It's just best that you don't, cross your arms or your legs. It's nice to be in a more open posture. You can have your hands on your thighs facing skywards or the ceiling and just, sit comfortably. And typically people like I usually start with a connecting statement, intention, or prayer. And so we usually close our eyes during that part. So
Okay.
let's start with that. Then you can open your eyes. So we're just going to take a few deep conscious breaths. So paying attention to the air that goes in through your nose, down into your lungs, and comes and releases on the exhale. Continuing to breathe this way with your focus on the breath. Now bringing your awareness to the center of your chest, which is the heart area. I want to state the intention that each and every person that is listening to this, either live or recorded, that they have a deep connection with their belief system, whatever that may be, and that they have an alignment occur within themselves with that higher truth that matches their soul path and the wisdom that they follow as higher guidance. And so it is.
And so it is.
And you can open your eyes when you're ready. And then I'll be using this pendulum over the charts, making sure that we're all set up to be, first of all, that I'm a neutral and clear channel of the energy that I am being shown to clear for the group. And so when we do a group clearing like this, any type of a healer, it's called a morphogenic field, which means the collective group consciousness. So that's how this can create a healing for people now when they listen to the recording and in the future. It encompasses all. So I've got us all ready. And so I'm going to ask this greater energy to help us look at where the financial concerns are coming in. And so it feels like society's feeling blocks to sympathy. It's like a lot of people are doing the things that we were all taught: work hard, use their skills, their talents, their education to make a better pathway for themselves. But it's like sometimes these big picture things that happen that are out of one person's control makes people feel like others don't know how they feel, don't see them, don't know, that other people appreciate what they do. And so we're asking for that to let go. And we're going to ask to please clear things. And when I ask for it to clear, it goes in a working circle like this. And it's asking to clear the mental chatter that goes through. And some of these will be thoughts that like when you receive bills in the mail, it's like, oh no, I gotta, you know, deal with a double power bill or whatever it may be. And so that's what's being cleared right now. Those things that like automatically get us in a stressful state of consciousness, a worry, a fear of not knowing how we're going to be able to pay twice the amount for one bill and still do all the other things that we do. And that's cleared. And then it's asking to clear whatever is in the DNA of each person that has caused a stress response when they think about money or financial concerns, inflation, and the increase in cost of living. And please clear the emotional body and how it causes a physical clamping down of the body. So some people will get a stomach ache, another person could get a headache just from having to face these things that aren't very comfortable right now financially. Okay. And let's just see where we're going next for this group. And there's a, a slice on one of the charts, and it says other, and it equates to a drain of energy, no matter how it shows up, because there's in SRT lingo a bunch of yucky things that it could be. So I just like to say it's other, and it's an energy drain, and it's going to be cleared and closed, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. But if you were doing an individual session, I would probably go into a little bit more detail about that. But this is helping us clear any blocks in our conscious mind that lead us into treating ourselves with cruelty, like judging ourselves. If I would have done this, then that. I could have, I should have, I would have, all the things that that inner critic tends to talk to us about. It's asking to let that go. And then we're letting go of worries and concerns about financial stressors and greed. We want to ask to let that go at infinite depths, levels, and layers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just if everybody could take a deep breath in, and we all have ideals of how we want things to be. And so we're going to ask, because a lot of us tend to be a little bit perfectionistic. And it's great to like nice things and to aspire for even beautiful, wonderful things. Yet, if we don't match that vibration, it will just carry the stress with us. And we're asking to clear the opinions of other people. So you may have had a parent, a teacher, or someone that told you you couldn't do something, or it wasn't very likely that you would be successful for one reason or another. And that brought up guilt in your consciousness. And so we're asking to let go of the negative motivation of guilt. And please clear any unseen forces that your mind allowed to be created to hold you back in any way or keep you stuck in any pattern with money and finances. And again, so interesting. We go back to the exact same chart, the exact same slice. It's called zealous desire. And we're going to ask to please clear all lower thought forms about that. And the imprint of brain damage means there's wrong perception or wrong thinking. And we're going to ask to clear that associated with finances, wealth, security, and preventing the move into being greedy. Please clear any unseen attachments that have gotten into the energy field or the aura. And please clear all escapism energies, which would keep away the financial remuneration that you would like in your life. And so I'm going to do a wrap up, mop up at this moment. And Cynthia, do you have any questions that you think people might want to know from this little clearing? And then I can do another one on a different topic too.
Well, everyone always wants to know where they're going, how they can do better, how they can be their best self. One of the things you said was being your own best friend. Can you do something to help people really do that and stop talking to their inner child meanly?
Yeah. Well, I really think the first thing everyone should do is take one deep breath when they notice themselves saying something critical to themselves. So just a
remember that, everyone. Breath is really healing. And I find it very helpful going to bed too, to do a little meditation and do some breathing like that. Let the day go.
Yeah, it makes sense because that breath work can bring your brain and your heart into what's called coherence or alignment. And when you feel like you're connected to yourself and connected to the universe by breath, there's a peacefulness that comes with that. And so once you hear that voice of the inner critic, I think a breath is a great thing to do because that in of itself will change your brain chemistry. And when your brain chemistry shifts, the thoughts that flow through you are different than when you're holding your breath. And so the other thing is, it helps you become aware of what that voice does say to you. And, it's kind of like on an automatic player or something. And you really, after a while, there's no need to really listen to it because that's part of what the mind does. And as we are raising our consciousness, being at peace and calm is the best way to access that. So the breath, going back to the breath and affirming that you're choosing to live in peace.
And other things you can do is stop feeding it. Stop feeding the negative stuff. Like, don't watch scary movies before you go to bed.
Right.
So you get if weight's a thing, well, stop feeding it. Just stop.
Yeah.
Bad habits, overindulgence, things that that aren't good for your little self, that then you beat yourself up for. Just stop and plus be grateful. Think of our little breath. We go to sleep. Our lungs don't. Our heart doesn't. It keeps working 24/7 for our entire life. Hundreds of years.
Yeah, which is totally amazing when you think about it. To me, that's like, it's a miracle,
We are miracles.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, we already won the race of life just being here to have this meeting and let you know where we're going and how you can breathe, enjoy it, because we only have this one life, right?
Yeah.
So let's make the best of it, because I love my life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love the adventure of it, and good, bad, otherwise, you learn from it, and then you go, and now when you're breathing, you can take a moment and go, "Oh, was that my best choice in that moment?
Mhm.
Maybe let me think that out." Breath,
Yeah.
breath. Maybe they didn't actually mean what I heard. Let's investigate that for a minute. And
Mhm.
even if they did, you learn, well, don't do that. And two, maybe avoid that situation. And three, take a deep dive into yourself and go, huh, did I trigger that? Could that be me? Lots and
Mhm.
lots of things to work on.
Yeah. Gives
Grateful that I'm here to talk about it.
you so true, so true.
Mm, mm, mm. And our youth too. You said that if 70% of our adults are overwhelmed, you said youth were even more so. That's
Yeah.
heartbreaking. They shouldn't be. Oh,
I know. If you think about the pressures that they have, like whether they're going to college or a trade school, there's a lot of expectation placed by our society on the youth or the young people that are in just coming out of high school, college, and so on. And I mean, I watch my daughter and her friends, and they've been in corporate America now for about 5 or 6 years, and there's just, I don't know, just a lot of pressure, and the world's not as, stable or consistent as it had been in the past, and so, that overwhelm can creep up on people, and it can show up as, like, anxiety. And the numbers of people with anxiety and depression are really at an all-time high, which, is not the ideal scenario. So,
what do we do about that?
well, we can clear tonight with SRT, but also, I mean, um, going for a walk in nature, breathing deeply, exercising. Some people might need to just take a nap. I mean, it might be all these things, you know what I
Naps
mean?
help sometimes, or
Yeah,
just getting your 8 hours or as close to it as you can get.
yeah. So simple things that are everyday things that maybe even a warm the lemon water, a warm cup of tea, you know, those types of things, but get your you have them both.
I love this yogi tea. I don't know if you ever have
Oh,
this.
yeah.
This one says, "Ooh, the worst enemy we have is our own fear."
Mm.
Mm. Did you know Paula was coming today?
Yeah. They must have.
What are some of the most dramatic transformations you witnessed through SRT?
Mm. Gosh, let me think. Mm.
I suppose any one of them is, if it helps the
Yeah.
person and
One
the
really
community and our group.
Yeah, one really dramatic one I had was, I had an older man as a mentor in a game that I facilitate called the All Game. It's called,
The what?
the All Game, ALL, and it stands for Awareness, Love, and Light.
Hmm.
And it is a board game really for 8 or 10 players at a time, and it has to be in person. Um, so anyway, he was older, and at one point it was a time for him, he was transitioning, and his wife had called me because he had not seen his sons in a number of years. And then the sons did not really get along also. And so I did a clearing to help, and it ended up that those sons came together. They lived in a sustainable community. And so the people of the community came at the same time the sons came, and they all got along really well. And he got to say goodbye to each and every one of them. And it was a really harmonious end to his life as he, entered into the heavenly realms. And so that was very touching to me to have a modality that would clear the obstacles that have prevented them from even talking to one another for several years.
Mm, what a
So
gift for all of them.
yeah, that
Don't even
was
realize it.
nice. And I tell you what, they gave me a very nice gift. His wife was an artist and she did a painting of my daughter that
Oh,
is staggering. So it was
oh,
just so touching. So now, of course, I look at that picture and I love it because it's a picture of my daughter, but I also love the memory associated with that as well.
that's a
Yeah.
beautiful one. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also had the opportunity to help young couples that were wanting to conceive a child, and there might be blocks with either the husband or the wife. And, sometimes that could be physical, but sometimes that could be a mental or an emotional block that needed to heal from their childhood in order for them to feel comfortable in conceiving a child to be a parent.
Hmm.
Um, and I've had that like 5 times, and that's pretty amazing to witness. So,
Yes. Beautiful. And now they have little babies. Are you related now? Are you an aunt or a godmother or you like,
something like
oh,
that for sure.
yes. Oh my goodness. You work with such diverse clientele from executives, physicians, artists, educators.
Yeah.
Do different professions like tend to have different types of blocks?
Hmm. I never really even ever thought about that. Let me think a minute.
Trying to streamline your process. Goes on automatically.
Yeah, she's giving me shortcuts to figure out.
Oh, I just figured you could like do a whole thing of physicians in a hospital because they all are like
Yeah.
overworked and they're all retiring all to mine. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're kidding. Been with you for like the last 20 years. You can't retire. I would have
Yeah,
to explain this again. I don't want to.
yeah, exactly. Well, I have had a group of physicians that come to me on a regular basis. It started with one doctor that he was a medical doctor, but he also opened a chelation clinic to
What's
detox
that? Chelation.
detox heavy metals out of your system by having these vitamin IV drips.
How
It's
do they
kind
get in there?
of the heavy metals.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people believe that there's simple things like our deodorant has aluminum in it. So you need to buy one from the health food store that doesn't have aluminum. Some people have had fillings in their teeth, and it has been proven that that leaches into the bloodstream.
Hmm.
So that could be an area. If someone lives near some kind of a factory that releases that type of stuff into the air or the water, which of course now OSHA and all those governing agencies have really, they're on top of that, of course. But over the years, I mean, and in the past, like I don't know how many years ago, but a lot, like when we were really young, there was lead-based paint. And we
Yeah.
don't use that anymore. We've
And
learned
that
those.
mosquito spray that used to go around the neighborhood.
Yes,
Guess that's
that's
not lead, but that was really bad for you. You used to go run in it. It was
yeah,
how did I live through my childhood?
it is pretty amazing sometimes, right?
Those merry-go-rounds, that went really fast, made out of wood and metal, and jungle
Yeah,
gyms and swings, and thank you. It was lovely.
we enjoyed it, thanks.
We're still here to talk about it. Woohoo!
Yeah,
Kids,
exactly.
just go outside.
So, yeah, so I know earlier we talked a little bit,
Oh, I'm
the
sorry, I
fir
didn't mean to interrupt. So you're with the physicians and you're doing this metal thing, or
yeah,
they are.
well, that was one of them, but then he ended up,
Oh, here's believe in yourself. I've taken
zeolite,
zeolite powder for heavy metal remover. Ooh,
yeah, And zeolite can also help you become unallergic to cats or dogs if you're allergic to one of them.
Oh, Eric, you need to try that. Check it out.
I'm glad whoever just posted that. That was a good reminder.
Yes, and Eagle Pepper 44 said you have very powerful frequencies.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
So you felt that. Very nice, Eagle Pepper 44.
That's awesome. What a name. Very cool. So anyway, so I've had different types of doctors, and one of them that came was an anesthesiologist. And so we cleared, he wanted to bring spirituality into his operating room, but he was apprehensive because, of course, he doesn't know everybody's belief system that's, working as staff in the OR and then the patient and everything. So we did a clearing, and it ended up after that, he did a prayer with every patient that he
Oh, I
had
love
to,
that.
put under for surgery. And he told me what a difference it made in the way that his team worked together on the surgery. So that was pretty
Wow,
cool in my book.
very cool.
Yeah. So
Very, very cool.
so anyway, so I think maybe we could do a little bit of clearing for the overwhelm that everybody's feeling. And whether it's, some people are concerned about things in the environment, like when we just had this winter storm warning come through, or maybe other natural disasters and so on. It could be like, what's the future of planet Earth kind of stuff too.
Fill
Um,
us in.
yeah, so,
Okay, guys, you ready for this one?
so here
Big breath.
we're taking a deep breath in. So connecting inside yourself to whatever belief system you like to work with, that you believe in. And I ask that this little clearing help you hear more precisely what you're being guided to do in life, to live on purpose, to let go of any sabotaging or self punishing ways, and to know how to balance yourself and be stable as we move forward into the future, and to be more relaxed with uncertainty by making a choice of living in a beautiful state of consciousness, such as peace, joy, connection, love, and all these other beautiful frequencies that you may think of. And we ask that this year and every year after contain more and more of that peaceful, loving connection. And so it is.
And so it is. Amen.
So I'm just going to get myself set up to be the facilitator, making sure I'm neutral. And then we'll set up the energy field for this group of people that we're clearing here live and on the recordings, impacting each and every person in the positive way that is best and highest good for them, to free the feeling of overwhelm. So we're going to let go of the theme and challenge with money and income issues, themes and challenges with sexual relationships and sex, and block soul qualities of innocence and patience. So, meaning before money and sex, we were all very innocent. And so we're going to uncomplicate the energy field a little bit.
This should be good.
We'll take and we're going to ask to please clear any blocks to the willingness to change, because a lot of times someone consciously will say, yeah, I really want to change. I want something different in my life. But when it comes down to it, their comfort zone is pretty comfortable.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Got to step out of that.
Yeah.
Your adventure. It is your best life. You're only going through this once at this time. So
Yeah,
let's make the best of it.
that's right. Let's live in a happy, wonderful way.
Peaceful
And
and help others.
yeah. And so we're going to ask to please clear any way where in the consciousness that there's blocks and anything that comes down through the lineage that is holding us back, and any inner critic energy where it gets to the point that it imprints us with a violent self-talk, and we're going to ask to let that go. We're going to ask to please clear any and all coercion energies. And so all this overwhelm, we're going to ask to do a 0 time clearing and a head to toe search and clear. And if everyone will just breathe really deeply into their lower part of their lungs, this is going to just let go at whatever level for each person, given their circumstances, the content of their subconscious mind coming from themselves, from their lineage, and from other things that have influenced them. And at a more subtle level, we have the unconscious, which is where we don't know what we don't know. And so it's going into the crevices to help let that go. You can take a deep breath in and open your eyes if you want, or keep them closed. We're going to apply a type of healing called cranial sacral, and that balances the energy that flows through the brain stem down to the bottom of the spine and all the signals in between. We're going to ask for balance and healing for all those nerve centers. And so we're going to ask to do a complete healing on the nervous system and how it registers stress, and allow people to understand when there's good stress that helps them take action, which might be necessary, versus chaotic or frenzied kind of activity type stress. And we're going to ask to please clear any rebellion energies of not wanting, when you hear good advice and things like we're supposed to walk daily, we're supposed to drink 8 glasses of water, we're drinking lemon water, we're breathing deeply, all of these things. And you're just like, I'm over it. I'm overwhelmed anyway, so I can't even draw a bubble bath for myself or take a shower today or something very basic. Sometimes people get to that point, and we're going to ask to download healing and sympathy and empathy to those people that get to that point where they're locked in inaction because their system, their nervous system, can't take any more messages. It's just too much. And so we're going to offload the energetic signature of stress and download calm courage to their body and energy bodies. Thank you. We're also going to download perseverance, because as the world does have a lot of things it's going through and facing, individuals are going through and facing things too. And so to give us resilience and perseverance will help us face the things that are happening in the world. And please download happiness to everyone's body and energy bodies, and download the feeling and expression of trust. And then just take a deep breath in And we'll do a wrap up, mop up, thanking the higher power, the universal intelligence, and whatever you may have for that name that is greater than yourself and your connection to it. We thank that. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, so how do you feel? Do you feel any different?
Am I as radiant as you?
You're even more radiant.
How did you get so radiant? I've noticed the switch over you in the past few months, as a matter of fact.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's like,
Well, doing the spiritual response therapy is something I do daily for myself and for clients. So there's a lot of time spent on introspection and on transformation and growth. I also have teachers that I've been studying with for 19 years that originated in India. And the nice thing is, they travel to the United States. So we have Sri Preetaji and Sri Krishnaji.
mhm.
And, they just recently did an online global summit where we had thousands upon thousands of people. And they've written this book. So, and then I met you at one of their events, a Field of Awakening, which we're getting ready to have another one at the end of March in Miami. So,
I met you in LA.
yes, that's right.
I don't remember the year. Was that pre? Was that pre-COVID? I think was it.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was right before or right after.
I think it might have been right before because we weren't doing the mask thing and we were all together and there
Yes,
were a
that's,
lot of people there.
yeah,
Lots.
right. And that was before we wore masks at times. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We didn't even know about it yet. That we were in perfect bliss. Perfect bliss and
Right.
harmony. And it was beautiful. And look
Yeah.
at that, ladies and gentlemen. You never know those relationships that you make, how they intertwine in your life. And now Paula's back on my podcast. How blessed am I? I didn't even have a podcast back then. It wasn't even a thing. I was horrified when someone said I had to do one for my first book. I went, live? Really? Ooh, I was scared to death.
And now look at you.
I think you're episode 104, actually.
Oh, yay, yay.
Isn't that cool? So
That's
thank you
very
so much for
awesome.
being here for episode 104. That's incredible. Let's get a couple more questions in before. I'm not even sure. Um, you want to walk us through your stress detox course? Do you want to do that?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, let's hear about that.
Yeah, I'm a oneness trainer for Sri Preetaji and Sri Krishnaji, and I've been certified in a 2-day course called the Stress Detox. And
Oh, how about that?
we go through different meditations, contemplations, and we listen to recorded wisdom teachings from both Sri Krishnaji and Sri Preetaji that are universal. It doesn't matter our culture, if there's a religion or spiritual path you follow. This is more about how a human processes emotion. So it doesn't matter your background. And so we go through processes. I do a transmission that they have gifted me with to help take people out of stressful states and move into those higher frequencies of feeling joy and connection, even in simple things in life, and living in unperturbed calm, which means, like yesterday, when our heater had an issue in this cold weather, I could have panicked, gotten myself all, irritated. But instead, I chose to live from a peaceful state and just knew it would be taken care of. And so our HVAC company, of course, made a spot for us and got it handled within a couple hours, and it was totally fine. And if that hadn't happened, I probably would have either gone to a hotel or a really good friend's house and stayed all night. So, you learn to make your decisions from those peaceful states instead of from chaotic and panic and stress. So it's a 2-day process, and the next one we're going to have is down near Miami before the Field of Awakening. So,
And Paula has a group that started, I don't know when it started, but it's every morning at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So there's one from 7:30 to 8, and then there's another little one from 8, 8:15, 8:20, Soul Sync. Yeah.
yes,
These are a beautiful way to start your day. I usually text two of my girlfriends and go, okay, and they jump on, and it's just like, just opening your mind. What is your thing you do in the morning? What kind of um, way do you wake up? Your spiritual morning practice?
Well, my first thing is, I wake up and I talk to my higher power, which I would call the divine or the universal intelligence or God. And I usually express gratitude. And then I do a few things to like get my body ready. And then I get up, and when my feet hit the floor, I usually affirm today is my peaceful day. And if anybody's watched that walk for peace, there's a group of, I think it's either, they may be down to 23 monks, but it was 24 monks walking from Houston, Texas to Washington, D.C. And today they went from North Carolina into Virginia, and they're walking through the snow, the sleet, the everything. And their teaching is today is my peaceful day, which really matches what
Wow.
Preetaji and Krishnaji speak of as a beautiful state. And I actually went over outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, in a town called Rock Hill, South Carolina, and I walked a mile with these monks.
How
And
cool is that?
it was so cool. I mean, I took this little sign that had a quote from Buddha, because the monks normally would not, in a traditional sense, interact with a woman or look her in the eye. So I thought I wanted to have a little affirming sign. And so I was holding it, and the head monk came over and blessed me with this
Oh,
feather that he's been carrying, a very special one. And then I would say about 20 of them out of the group either blessed me, one put flower petals all over me, and all I could do was say thank you and then cry. It's
how
because the
beautiful.
gratitude was just oozing and oozing
Oh,
from
I love
me.
that. That's fabulous. What fun.
So anybody can look on social media for the Walk for Peace to follow that, and I highly recommend it. So.
See, you never know what you're going to learn. What's the best book you've read on consciousness or healing?
Well, I really love the Four Sacred Secrets that Sri Preetaji and Sri Krishnaji wrote. There is this one passage in that book that spoke to me so loudly, because it
Yeah.
talks about this little lizard that is on top of the roof in a building. And it goes through this whole story, and that lizard thinks it's the one holding everything up and keeping the building intact and
I love it.
holding the space for everyone. And I just got the biggest kick out of that, because, at times our egos and even my own has thought I was the one that was doing so much. And, now after all these years of studying this oneness work, I realize, I'm not the one doing all that.
But you're doing a lot. So if you could clear one block for the whole wide world, what would it be?
Mm, gosh, I'm going to cry now.
Oh,
Probably self acceptance, because at the core, if you can think about how many times, like as we grew up, especially in certain times of our lives, we want to look as good as someone else looks, or we want to achieve what they've achieved, or, we want to be something other than what we are.
Mm.
And it sneaks up on you. And so, if we all could accept ourselves as we are, I think it would be a beautiful gift to humanity and to our process of moving forward, because I believe our consciousness being raised is really imperative for our earth to be healthy, our families, our lives to be healthy and whole. So,
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's kind of silly, but what lights you up most about your work?
Well, the the feeling of the transformation that I get to witness, because I'm not all that special. I am a space
Oh, yes,
holder.
you are. Absolutely, you are.
Well, you know, but anybody could do what I do if they're trained and they meditate. So I just love seeing when someone has an aha moment, has a big shift in their mindset, or a big change in their life because they're willing to be open and to see what emotional content or what baggage they have that they could let go of. And it's just
Mm.
beautiful to witness.
Final question. Finish the sentence. You are enough because dot dot dot.
Because you are.
If people want to reach you, where should they reach out to you?
Well, I have a website, paulaschroeder.com, and it is spelled like Schroeder. So a lot of times, I answer to either. And then Paula at paulaschroeder.com is my email. And I have a website. There is a way to contact me through the website also.
www.paulaschroeder.com.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And it is up on the board, so you can write it down or replay this. Please share this out. Please subscribe to the Cynthia Mannion Show on YouTube. Please. Do you have a book yet? Do you have a book? You need a book. Do you have a book?
You know what? I have a client that's talking me into working on a book, and we're starting the groundwork.
And then look for her book, and we'll have her back when she's got that ready. Meanwhile, feel free to go on Amazon and write me a review for my books, Black Pearl Love Letter to the Ocean and Savannah Seas, Maiden Voyage. They're both on Audible, and Black Pearl Love Letter to the Ocean is also in Spanish.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being here, Paula. That was lovely. Just
Oh,
lovely.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Peace to you all. See you next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And breathe.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.